This video is going to cover pages 16 through 18 in the workbook. So we have triangle congruence and we have triangle similarity. For triangle congruence, we have these 5 properties here. And the first 4 are the most critical. Side, 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 angle, and angle, angle, side. So remember, that's the number of sides or angles we have in each triangle and the order that we have them. If you get that, it's going to make triangle similarity a lot easier. We have 3 properties that'll prove triangles are similar. Now, when triangles are congruent, that means that all the corresponding parts of the congruent triangles are congruent. That's both angles and sides. If triangles are congruent, that means the sides are proportional and the angles are congruent. There's also a little bit about scale factor here, which we'll talk more about in a different section. I believe that's G13 and G14. So let's do some multiple choice problems to help you figure these out. It says the figure below is formed by 2 intersecting segments whose endpoints are connected by 2 additional segments. So right away, we're given one angle and one side. We also are given that these are vertical angles. So our answer literally pops out at us. It's angle, side, angle. The side, we call this side the included side, is between those 2 angles. That's why it's angle, side, angle. For number 2, we're given a right triangle. Anytime you see right triangle, it might be hypotenuse leg, because we have the hypotenuse of this triangle. This is also another right triangle. We have the hypotenuse. We also have one leg that's congruent, and that's the same leg. That's by the reflexive property. Anytime you have the same thing congruent to itself, it's a reflexive property. So those are congruent by hypotenuse leg. This one here, we have 2 more right triangles, so we might be thinking it's hypotenuse leg. We have the reflexive property again that shows us that the hypotenuse is congruent on each triangle, but we don't have any other sides or any other angles, so there's not enough information there. We can say it's not congruent. Lastly, for number 4, it says C is the midpoint. Since C is the midpoint of AD, that means that segment AC and segment CD are congruent. We're also given other information. We're given that segment AB is congruent to segment BD. And by the reflexive property, we know that segment BC is congruent to segment BC. So these triangles are congruent by side, side, side congruence. Let's move on to the next page. The next page asks us which angle corresponds to angle CAB. So if I take a look here, C is the 3rd letter, A is the 1st, B is the 2nd. So it's kind of like I go 3, 1, 2. The ordering is very important. I want to keep that same order, 3, 1, 2. So I go 3, 1, 2. That's angle FDE. So the correct answer is B. This is by CPCTC, which we talked about at the beginning of the video. Corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Numbers 6 through 8 show us a proof, and we need to fill in the proof. So we're given a lot of information here. And step 2 says segment AB is congruent to blank. We need to answer step 2 to answer number 6. So using the picture, I see that AB is congruent to BC. So that's going to be my correct answer. It's going to be letter C. So segment AB is congruent to segment BC. Going up to number 7, it says what is the missing reason for step 3? Step 3 tells us angle CBX, so let's label it, it's right there, is congruent to angle BAT. Well, using this picture and the information we have in words, I have 2 parallel lines. So if I would extend the lines and the transversal, remember that's the line that cuts it, I see that these angles are corresponding angles. So this is the corresponding angles theorem. So the last one asks us, why are these triangles congruent? We had to fill in step 4. So let's rewrite them. I have triangle ABT. So I have an angle, a side, and another side. So all I'm doing is rewriting all of these tick marks and angle marks that I have. And I have angle BCX. Sorry, triangle BCX. Again, I have these marks. So what I have in the end is a side, an angle, and a side on both of them. So if you take a look here, the angle is included. It's the angle that makes up those two sides. Side angle, side congruence postulate. For number 9, we're told a bunch of information. We're told that segment AB is congruent to segment CB. And BD is perpendicular to AC. It's perpendicular, remember, that means it forms a right angle on both sides. Is triangle ABD congruent to triangle CBD? The answer to this is yes. Remember, we have the reflexive property here, so we have hypotenuse leg. All we have is our given information and the reflexive property. So the following questions all have to deal with similar triangles. The first one says, which triangles are always similar? The answer to this is equilateral, because all angles are congruent. So they'll be similar by angle-angle similarity. Number 11 says, which of the following statements is always true about similar triangles? This one's kind of simple. Similar triangles always have the same shape. It should help you conceptualize that all it is a scale factor. You either blow it up or shrink it. So we have to use questions 12 through 14 to answer, the diagram to answer questions 12 through 14. If triangle DEF is similar to triangle GHI, DE is equal to 4, DF is equal to 6, GH is 10, what is the length of GI? So all I do here, I see that DE are the first two letters and GH are the first two letters. So that means that 4 over 10 is going to be equal to, I keep the same triangle on top, 6, that's DF, and GI has to be that one, so it's X. Whenever I cross multiply it, 4X is equal to 60, and dividing by 4, I get X is 15. So since I'm using the same picture again, I'm going to erase what I wrote here. This time we're given DE is proportionate to GH. So even though this isn't really correct terminology, they're not equal, they're proportionate, I'm still going to write those tick marks to help me keep track of things. I'm also told that EF and HI are proportionate. What other information would you need to prove triangle DEF is congruent to triangle GHI? Well, since we have angles here, I know that if angle E is congruent to angle H, that would be by side angle side similarity. So I have two sides proportionate and the included angle, the angle in between them. So the answer is going to be B for this one. So for number 14, we're told angle D is congruent to angle G. So let's go back to our picture. We're going to erase it. We're told angle D is congruent to angle G. And it says, what other information would not help in proving triangle DEF is congruent, or sorry, similar to triangle GHI? So I know that if I have two angles that are congruent, that's going to prove it by angle-angle similarity both times. So if E is congruent to H, or if F is congruent to I would know that that would be enough by angle-angle similarity. So it's not A or B. Let's go up to our picture though. We have DE and DF. So here's DE, here's DF. And I have GH underneath DE and GI. So GH and GI. So by this property, I know they're similar by side angle side similarity. So let's try the last one just to make sure. We have DE and EF. So I'm going to erase DE and EF. And I have DF and HI. So I'm on the same triangle with DF, so I'm in trouble already. That should be like one tick mark, I guess, and HI. So we should see pretty clearly that D is the correct answer. It doesn't help us at all in proving that. Number 15 says, are these two triangles similar? Why or why not? Well, whenever I find out the last side, I see that that's the last angle is 58, and that would be 70. So the answer is yes by angle-angle similarity. And if I take a look here, A, B, C goes 52, 70, 58. That's the same thing that happens with DEF, so even the order is good on that. For 16 through 18, I have some proof. I have a proof that I need to fill in the reasons for. We're told that we have some parallel lines, and we need to prove that some sides are in proportion to one another. So the first thing says angle APQ, which is right here, has to be congruent to angle ACB by the corresponding angles theorem. So that's going to answer number 16. Remember, these lines are parallel, so the corresponding angles have to be congruent. For number 17, we're asked to fill in step 3, so I'm not going to scroll down. We have to fill in step 3. And the one that makes the most sense is angle A is congruent to angle A. All of these things fit the reflexive property, but they're not going to help us solve why these triangles are congruent. Angle B and angle B, for example, it doesn't fall on triangle APQ. I want to find something on this triangle and something on the big triangle. Angle A and angle A is the only one that makes any sense. So why are the triangles similar? Well, we have two angles, so that's going to be angle-angle similarity postulate. I hope this was helpful, and I hope you'll take a look at some of the other videos and do well in the SOL.